Watch this.
It's Friday. You know what that means? We made it through the week. Thanks for being with us here on the 208. Here's what we got for you on a Friday. Idaho lawmakers called it a year this past week, for now. But a question kind of hangs as the dust settles. Will new laws be the center of costly court cases? We asked legislative leaders which bill numbers they're keeping in mind. Solar energy seems to be a hit for some Idahoans, but others, who are set to maybe live near a major sun farm, they have concerns about the project. Andrew Bartline hit the county line to hear about it from the locals. Beehive hairdos? Yeah, we're digging way back into the KTV collection for some Friday fun. My, how times have changed. This week, Idaho lawmakers wrapped it up for the year. For now. Lawmakers, though, they did cover a lot of ground. A question I did see, though, on a few fronts in recent weeks on a variety of topics: what new Idaho laws will be challenged in court? Well, we'll find that out officially soon, but lawmakers have their thoughts. And this week on Viewpoint, I took inventory on the legislative session with State House leaders. Senate Pro Tem, Republican Senator Chuck Winder, and minority leaders, Senator Melissa Wintrow and Representative Alana Rubel. I want to start with the ITD budget, something that we follow closely here. And that budget included language to end a sale of the ITD campus on State Street in Boise. Let's start with some reaction from Senator Winder.
From my perspective, I fought it as hard as I could fight it. We killed it several different times because I didn't like the language. I thought it was basically overturning a 2-year process that they told them to do, and they did. And now they changed their mind as a legislature, and we're trying to come back and kill the deal. This was a really unusual type of thing. It was a long-term process that was underway, and I was really disappointed that the legislature decided to go that way. But that's the will of the body, and obviously the House was locked down on it. They weren't going to change in JFAC, and I think some of our members tried to get the language removed, couldn't get that done successfully, and as a result, we ended up with it. Even, when it went to the governor said this is unfair, and it probably hurts our state.
And we already know that the private company that wanted to buy that property from the state, well, it sounds like they're going to file a lawsuit. Meanwhile, the Democrats, they're focused on a collection of bills that are now law or will be later this year when the fiscal year begins on July 1. But the minority leaders explained to me what they're keeping their eyes on, and they say that things feel really familiar.
Yeah, a number of them. Some of them, frankly, are on lawsuits we have pretty much already lost, and they're just going to take another run at it and see if we can lose it again. But some of them, particularly in this bizarre transgender obsession that our friends across the aisle seem to have, they have brought, just in the 67th legislative cycle, they brought 30 anti-LGBTQ bills. Not all of them became law, but a lot of them were signed into law, and a lot of them are already tied up in court, and new ones this session are probably going to go into court, including the one defining gender as males are people who produce sperm and females are people who produce eggs, and that is all there is in law. We've already lost the lawsuit on whether you can, tell the state they can't issue driver's licenses and birth certificates in people's preferred gender once they've undergone the full transition. We've already lost that suit. Apparently, we're going to have to litigate it again. There are a number along those lines. I think, we'll see if the library bill ends up in court.
So, diving deep on Viewpoint with leadership, we also talk about the possibility of a special session. We'll have that conversation at 9 a.m. this Sunday, right here on News Channel 7. We're continuing to hear responses about the legislative session from the community. And earlier this week, it was Boise Mayor Lauren McLean. Today, it's the Boise School District. That's right. Boise School District Superintendent Kobe Dennis said they have concerns over 3 new laws. The gender and sex law asserting that there are only 2 sexes, male and female. Your sex assigned at birth is fixed for life. The pronoun law making it illegal to force public school employees, including school teachers and staff, to address students or people by their preferred pronouns. And the harmful materials in library law, which gives parents a means to file a complaint with a community or school library about a book that they find objectionable in the kids section. Superintendent Dennis says in a statement, quote, Each bill on its own presents a number of troubling consequences for students and staff. However, when combined, they add unnecessary obstacles to our values of respect and dignity, as well as our commitment to fostering a sense of welcoming, belonging, and connectedness for all of our students. Superintendent also went on to say that the district is working with school staff to develop student-focused strategies and guidelines, and they'll be doing their own detailed legal analysis on all of it. The laws are scheduled to go into effect on July 1st. Pending legal challenges, which we've touched on, are expected. We'll see if anything gets paused. Rural Idahoans on the border of Canyon County and Ada County, they're asking for answers. A renewable energy company called Savion wants to build a solar farm on thousands of farmland acres. The neighbors in the neighborhood, though, they say they were never notified about this, and they heard about the project secondhand. So now they're trying to play catch-up, and they're voicing their opposition. Here's Andrew Bartline.
There's a comfort in southern Idaho's farmland in its simplicity.
You know, this is home.
And there's concern in the inevitable.
Development after development.
It's complicated.
Seems like it's disappearing pretty fast, but...
And now Dustin Ferdinand's home is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Savion, a renewable energy company, is proposing a 2,400-acre solar farm squarely in the middle of fertile farmland.
It's just not the right place.
And Leroy Taylor knows the land best.
Since 6 weeks after school started in 1949.
It's been his home ever since.
Yeah, it is completely surrounded by canal laterals and people, lots of people.
And those people didn't even know this massive solar farm project was in the works.
So we hear about it from hearsay from the neighbors. We start kind of diving into it a little bit.
And the business pitch is bright as the sun. Savion calls it low impact, clean, quiet investment.
We still need help to understand all that.
And they still need answers to their questions, including the long-term impacts on the land and groundwater.
This is absolutely the wrong place to build a solar farm, up on top of this hill surrounded by water and that aquifer underneath.
This map shows the full scale of the proposed project.
So widespread, it actually takes up 2 counties.
2,400 acres on paper, but it's anything that touches the sun.
And if you look over
in person,
basically this whole farmland, everything right here, across the horizon, and even past to what we can see.
You see that tower on the end of that pivot? That's a quarter of a mile. It goes a full mile that way, so it covers quite a bit of ground.
Making his home unrecognizable.
Yeah, it sure does.
These neighbors are now getting together to discuss their shared concerns and to learn about what they're not being told by developers.
Landowners of, trying to do what they want to do with their land, I don't blame them.
Or maybe what the developers don't know either.
Is it really truly green? It supplies the commodities for 3 dairies, 3 local dairies. They're gonna have to do a bigger carbon footprint to even go further out to get their commodities.
It's got these neighbors now reminiscing about times when life wasn't so complicated.
I would like to figure out a way to let this community know what they're really up against.
The reason they moved here in the first place.
You definitely lose the small town aspect that we all enjoy.
Savion says the project will be able to power more than 45,000 local homes. They are hosting a public meeting in Melba next Tuesday. They call it an informational open house. As for the neighbors who already have their minds made up, they're holding a meeting for people who live in that area who are nearby and could or would be impacted. That meeting is tomorrow at the Melba Center. It's at 6:30 p.m., Joe. For both of those meetings, you might not have a pen and paper. We'll have it on our website at ktvb.com in this story, so you could go to either if you are so interested.
It's a fascinating conversation about solar farms because, we've heard this before. It's not unique to Idaho, where you have people that say this is the golden solution to power our areas, but then you have the neighbors that live in the neighborhood that say, well, you don't have to live next to it. So it's very intricate. I'm interested to see how this goes on.
Yeah, and the conversation about replacing that farmland, I'm curious, what is that net gain? I'm not a scientist who has studied it, but if it's in desert land, you're not exactly losing that farmland from it. So it's an interesting conversation to have. We'll see how it shakes out. I imagine there's going to be an environmental impact statement that will help ultimately decide if this gets greenlit or struck down.
Fascinating. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that one. Andrew Bartline reporting on a Friday. Thanks, Andrew. All right, a little dog had a rough day on the river when they were stranded on an island. Don't worry, they're safe now. Brenda Rodriguez shares that top story and more of your local news and notes in today's 411.
We know it's the end of the work week, so sorry about being a Debbie Downer. But just a reminder here, Monday is the deadline to file your 2023 taxes. So if you haven't done them yet, well, now we know what your weekend plans are. And if you can't get them done by April 15th, there's some good news for you. The Idaho State Tax Commission says that you can pay enough of your total tax by the 15th and receive an automatic 6-month extension. The commission requires you to pay 80% of the estimated taxes that you owe, or 100% of the total tax reported on your 2022 income tax return. Happy taxing! Some firefighters, they save cats from trees, but Boise Fire saves dogs from rivers. Today, the Boise Fire dive team rescued a little dog who was attempting to swim in the Boise River near Garden City. They say that Lisa ended up stranded on an island because of that swift current and cold water. This is a good reminder to be careful right now because the river is high and fast. Ready, set, run. Tomorrow is the Basque-themed 5K fundraiser, the Lampage. Boise has the highest concentration of Basque people outside of the Basque country, which is why we have an entire block dedicated to the Basque culture. Last month, people in the Basque country ran throughout the country from one village to another as a way to celebrate their culture and their traditions. So back here in Idaho, our Basque community holds its very own version of the run. It promotes the Basque culture and raises money for the Boise local Basque community. The Lampage starts and finishes at the Old Timer Pavilion in Ann Morrison Park, and the path goes along the Boise Greenbelt. And don't worry, it's only a 5K. Plus, you get fed after that. Registration is $30 and includes a t-shirt, race bib, and a delicious lunch at the finish line. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Brenda Rodriguez.
Sometimes perspective is very powerful, but sometimes it can just be for fun. And fun on a Friday seems fair after finally finishing the legislative session. So, we have something unbelievable cooked up for you. Stay tuned for that. Plus, we will get to some of your comments live at the end of the program, and I am keeping my eyes open on the text line on this Friday. Send me your thoughts, comments, story pitches, analysis, pictures, whatever you can think of. 208-321-5614. Please be sure to include your name so we know who to give credit to, and hashtag the 208 so we know it's for us. We'll see some of these live at the end of the show. It is officially spring, and it's actually finally feeling like it. So thanks, Sophia. Good job on the forecast. But maybe you'll be a busy bee this weekend and do some spring cleaning, like cleaning up a beehive the size of a large beehive. Danny Ray posted this picture on the Idaho Weathers Watchers Facebook group and asked, does anyone have any info on who I can contact to move a beehive? Well, Danny, I don't have an answer for you. I hope you take care of that. But it did make us think of a very different kind of beehive that John Miller checked out on this day 25 years ago. Take a look.
9:30 a.m. at Cool 104, and I'm waiting for that big, huge ambulance with morning jockette Margot Vaughn. She's wearing a beehive. The car's kind of broken. It's got channel locks for handles and at least one severed leg.
It's really kind of hard for me to know where the story's going, except I know we're going to Caldwell or something.
Okay, we're going to Nampa to the Razzle Dazzle School of Hair.
Today's lesson?
Beehives.
This after Margot and the gang sent me a tape of Beehive, the Broadway musical, which is coming to Boise.
They got this one song where they go like this.
My hair would fall off.
Beehive, you're my baby.
Beehive, you're my baby.
It's kind of silly stuff, actually.
You're gonna know me as your girl.
My boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble.
Hey la, hey la, hey, hey.
Anyway, by the time we got there, it turned out to be one of those stories about what people would do for free tickets.
This is what makes the hairdos.
This is what makes them flammable, actually.
So how many pounds of hairspray is in your head right now?
A lot. Maybe a can.
Do you like the look?
No. These were designed so that they could stay in for weeks at a time.
Oh, gross.
One story was that there was a black widow that made its nest in a beehive.
That's really disgusting.
But it's well worth it.
To get tickets.
For the Broadway musical, they're buzzing about.
All I know is one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
This is not the look for me. This stinks. Let's get out of here.
John Miller, Idaho's News Channel 7.
John Miller looked like Marge Simpson. That's my assessment. Okay, well, Beehive, the 60s musical, it has actually come back to Boise a few times since 1999. Last time it was here was 2022, but maybe they'll make another appearance. Who knows? You can check out Beehive looks, maybe on me. I'm a little empty up top, but who knows? All right, we'll be right back.
the warm temperatures that we've seen today are fueling some thunderstorms across the region. We have a couple more ingredients added to that as well, but the warmer temperatures definitely lead to more of those stormy conditions. So right now, depending on which way you're looking in Boise, it may not look too stormy. However, if you turn around, look the other way, this direction in particular is looking at the southwest. You can see a much different view. So looking quite dark now in parts of Boise, 76 degrees, cooling down from 78 degrees earlier. Other areas are also looking quite stormy. This is the view from Twin Falls right now. You can see some of those storms moving off in the distance. All across the region, we are tracking thunderstorms today. You can see still a few strikes of lightning over towards the Twin Falls area and a couple of stronger storms now moving towards Treasure Valley areas. One strong storm passing through Homedale, but one storm in particular now right over Baker City, producing lots of lightning. This storm has produced hail and gusts of 50 miles an hour before making it to Baker City, so likely impacting them right now. You can see that the showers and thunderstorms are staying in the forecast through the weekend because the low pressure center, again, fueling these, is going to continue to bring more moisture into the area. And so some of these storms could even get on the stronger side tonight. That we're looking at multiple rounds, by the way, tonight, not just what we're seeing right now, but you can see that we will see the severe ingredients diminish as we go into tomorrow, where we're looking at just general thunderstorms for parts of the west central mountains. So where we see the storms pop up today, these are the main risks that are associated with that, with the gusty winds, just like we're seeing with that storm in Baker City. We've got lightning and hail as well. I think lightning is the most likely, and then also still possible, but a little bit less likely, is the localized downpours. You can see warm temperatures for tomorrow on tap, getting close to 80 degrees in many valley locations, in the 60s in mountain areas, and also getting close to 80 degrees in Magic Valley spots. So tomorrow we'll see a couple areas with less shower chances because we'll see a little bit more dry air move into the area. This shows the amount of moisture that we have available. However, that moisture does look to return as we go into Sunday. So tomorrow is a little bit drier, specifically for valley locations, a little bit less breezy as well. So for the most part, looking quite pleasant, but in the mountains, that's where we'll see the highest chances of more of those showers and thunderstorms. And we'd be looking at similar outcomes with those, the gusty winds, the lightning, and the hail. Meanwhile, in valley locations, things looking a little bit more pleasant, especially in the morning as we have those, again, warm morning temperatures to start with. And then you can see after Saturday, tomorrow, we cool back down significantly, putting us back into the 60s. You can see a couple 50s are expected next week as well. And those morning temperatures will cool as well. But we do see the high temperatures rebound and get close to 70 degrees by the end of your 7-day forecast.
right, before we get to comments, we want to keep the good vibes rolling this Friday, and we want to share a little blooper that happened while Andrew Bartline was out on his shoot today, his story on the solar wind farm. Our photojournalist and one of the most talented people ever, Kevin Esslinger, he was doing his job, putting on the mic to the man who lives next to the project site, Dustin Ferdinand, and Ferdinand had a good sense of humor.
Back up. Scared me, and I wasn't even up there.
Okay, sometimes you just got to lighten the mood, especially in the news industry. So we appreciate that. If you've ever wondered, you know, we go out there, we interview a lot of people, we mic them all up, and we don't use the stick mic all the time. So sometimes it gets a little funny. Okay, I wonder if the Bible will be restricted in public libraries. Have you ever read the book of Leviticus? Lots of dirty stuff in the Bible. That's from Mark. Mark, I am curious if someone does this as a challenge when the law goes into effect. Rather than building massive solar energy farms that cover thousands of acres of farmland, wouldn't it be better to require new homes to have solar panels on their roofs? That's from Bill J. Bill, I've seen other comments like that, and I've heard of ideas pitched to make it a law. We'll see if anything like that happens. 208, I asked this earlier, but now that Governor Little signed the library bill, does this mean I can go into my local library, and if I see a book in the adult section that I feel should be moved to the teen or children's section, I can demand that it be moved? Okay, so I don't know if I'm understanding this correctly, but maybe that would work backwards. I'm not sure. But either way, the answer for you is that it doesn't go into effect until July 1 in the new fiscal year. So at that point, the law will be in effect. Okay, that solar farm can be a farm and produce electricity as well. Just get the solar panels off the ground about 4 feet, put sprinklers on it, and use it for grazing for sheep. That's from Ray. Ray, it's a good idea. We'll see what the final design out there is. Your beehive story reminded me of my wife telling me when they were younger, they went camping. Her sister had a hare do just like that, and a mouse tried to make a nest in it. And needless to say, that was the last time that her sister wore her hair like that. Bob, I haven't seen anyone wear their hair like that in a long time. That might be a big reason why. Dear Joe, people that have a swarm problem can call the Treasure Valley Bee Club and they'll collect the swarm. Nobody should kill the bees. We need them. That is from Keith in Donnelly. And this person says, watching your story on the wind farm, we'll keep an eye out there and we will see what happens. All right, have a great weekend.